Hello, this is Dean Contover, and you're watching The Current Buzz. Today we have Paul Perez. He's involved with the junior ROTC in Lowell, Massachusetts at Lowell High School. And I have him in today to talk about what's going on in Lowell High School in regards to junior ROTC. It's Air Force ROTC. He's a close resident. He lives in Bellrica. He was a Master Sergeant in the Air Force. I think that's E7, right?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. It was the E7. If you military guys are watching, he's an E7. We're going to talk about the junior ROTC. It's different from college ROTC. In Lowell, they have a junior U.S. Air Force ROTC. Is that how you pronounce
correct.
it, Paul? And, you know, I'm going to talk to him about the mission and what they do and how they recruit, you know, they wear uniforms, et cetera, et cetera. So let's start with, I have a question. When did ROTC start, junior ROTC start?
Sure.
And,
Mr. Contover, thanks for having me, sir.
no,
I appreciate it. Thanks for the invite.
You can call me Dean. It's all right.
Okay, it's good to be around veterans. So
yeah.
First question again, sir.
When did junior ROTC start in Lowell High School?
Lowell High School has a great history of their junior ROTC program. They were established in 1977.
Okay.
And you can find that by looking at our unit designator. It's called MA-771, means it was established in 1977 and was the first unit in the state during that year.
That year, okay.
So they have a great history. Before that, they had a Corps of Cadets that existed that was not funded by the Air Force, no affiliation to any military service, but it had the military structure kind of feel to it.
Right.
So
marching and all that.
yes, sir.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about right now it's at Lowell High School. How many high schools in Massachusetts and New England are there? Junior ROTC?
Massachusetts has 9 Air Force junior ROTC units.
Air Force, okay.
And the region, the New England region, has 22 active and open junior ROTC units.
So region, you mean Connecticut, Rhode Island, Vermont, and New Hampshire, okay?
Maine.
And Maine, too.
Vermont does not have a unit. They're the only one in the New England area.
Oh, is that right?
They had one, and it deactivated maybe like before 2014, okay. Before I started actually as an instructor.
Let's talk about the chain of command. You go in, you have these students, they come in. Do you go out and recruit the students, or is it word of mouth?
It's a high school elective, and so it's available to any 9th through 12th grade student at Lowell High. And they choose their electives in their middle school year and decide, or every year, honestly, and they can join the program any year that they want to. We do have the 4 years that we offer, so you come in as an AS 1, 2, 3, or 4, depending on how many years you've had.
AS meaning what?
Aerospace science.
Aerospace science, okay.
Yeah,
so you teach aerospace science?
We do.
Okay.
It's mostly leadership, but we do have the curriculum that's designed by the Air Force, and they provide that to us.
I see, okay. So I want to come in, I'm a freshman, I'm new to the school, and who do I talk to? And do I talk to the other students that are members of the ROTC, or do I come in and talk to you?
Great question. So we have this a lot where we have middle school students that didn't know about our program,
okay.
And that's kind of on us. We need to be active recruiters for our program.
I see.
It is a voluntary enrollment, so there should be no junior ROTC cadet that gets put into our program if they don't want to be there. And the reason is we do have those weird factors where we're going to put them in a uniform. We're going to have to require them to dress once a week in that military uniform, which is an odd thing for a high school student.
Yeah, that's
This same 9th grader is trying to figure out they're new to the school. Mm-hmm. They're trying to figure out their social bubble. They've got a lot of stressors on them, and this one thing could be the deal breaker for them if they have a bad experience. Mm-hmm. So again, if we do it correctly, we recruit down at the middle school level. We make sure we go out with the current Corps of Cadets, whether they're on staff or any of the performing teams. We'll do recruiting visits to showcase a couple of the aspects of the things that we will do in junior ROTC, to get out there, show them that it's okay to be in a blue uniform, and hopefully show them the whiz-bang fun stuff that we can do, talk about it a little bit more, because we're more than just drilling on a drill floor. We are a quasi-STEM social kind of...
Paramilitary,
Correct.
really.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
So
okay.
we've got a lot of different functions that we can do.
So, I mean, they come into there's a uniform. Who pays for the uniform? You see them locally in the neighborhood. They come to events, and you see them. Who pays for that uniform?
So it's a joint effort. between the school districts that want to have a junior ROTC program and the United States Air Force. So if they enter into the memorandum of agreement, the Air Force will take care of all of the resources needed to do the Air Force side of the program, which is replica rifles for the drill teams, sabers for the honor guards.
Oh, no kidding.
All the uniform parts that are blue or camouflage, the curriculum, some funding for field trips that they require us to do, and they like for us, in a normal year, would like for us to take one field trip per year with either the entire cadet corps or select enough that we have it be fun, show them some aspect of the program that's outside of just the classroom setting.
So when you talk about field trip, where are the
So common field trips for us is, well, let's see, our first year is the freshmen. We've got to make it fun, got to keep them engaged. We want them back the next year, so we'll usually go into Boston. We've been visiting the USS Constitution, showing a little bit of our naval history to see those kinds of things. We've been to air expos at Logan when they have those in the spring. And it could be anything from just a fun field trip, but we want to make it educational as much as possible.
Speak about the Air Expo, because I've never heard of it.
The Expo is a free event. Actually, I think it happens in April or May over at Logan, down in Boston. And it's, I forget which company it is, actually. I think it might be the Department of Transportation for Massachusetts that actually supports it. But it's, they have static displays, some STEM components. They show you about flight simulation and other
that's
things.
cool.
They have,
I like that.
Police, fire, K-9 units, bomb units that show you just demonstration.
Big picture, basically.
Correct, yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, do you go into any events with the cadets in the sense that, you know, a congresswoman might be at an event, or do you go to Logan if some high official comes?
We do get requests for our honor guard. We actually, honestly, have quite a very good honor guard in the state that gets invited to some pretty prestigious events.
So let me ask you this question: we have a parade for July 4th. Would if they would request the honor guard, would the honor guard come to march in the parade?
That's
or
one of
the
those
cadet
things.
corps?
That's one of the things we would consider. The hardest part about that is the school year, obviously, and we got to make sure that the kids have their uniforms intact and there's an instructor available. So, but there are those events. This color guard, our honor guard's they've performed colors at the World Series in Boston at Fenway a couple of times, I believe. You mentioned a congresswoman. We did one with Congresswoman Trahan was at that event, and it was a dedication of a mural at UMass Lowell. And so we had our color guard present the colors there for that. So yes, we do get involved. We did the, last year we had the St. Patrick's Day Parade we were involved in.
In Boston?
One of our biggest supporters, Hanscom Federal Credit Union. They provide some grant for us for our travels. And so in return, we participated in the St. Patty's Day Parade with the contingent of cadets.
So you take these kids from Lowell and you expose them to a big picture, and they see this. What do they come back and say to you in regards to their experiences?
So you mentioned at the beginning, I didn't hit it, but our mission is to develop citizens of character, dedicated to serving their nation and community. That's what we try to instill in these high school students. We do hear back. They do get that good feeling that they're doing something great for their communities. They're getting involved. They're getting to see what careers look like, what the professional world looks like, protocols, other things that come along with that, and seeing what that professional life looks like. And so it's about that life experience for them. Our community service numbers and activities are constant. We push that on them quite a bit. It is voluntary, and so if they're showing up on a Saturday, there's an instructor with them on a Saturday.
Wow.
So it comes, at the cost of time and resources.
Yeah.
But we have a thriving community service program that we hit, definitely in the fall. We do a number of community service events every month. We take that small break in the winter when we can't get outside to give helping hands, but we try to still do things that may involve, other civic organizations during the winter time, and then we get back out there in the spring. And
I mentioned uniforms, but and I know in regards to military, hair, jewelry.
Yep, all driven by the Air Force.
Cosmetics. I mean, what's, you know, I mean, the young girls in regards to cosmetics and their hair and how they look and so forth. And as a ninth grader, it's pretty important.
It's one of those. It's one of those normal struggles for us.
Right.
That when that standard is there, they have to live up to it. And so at Lowell, and again, I have experience at 2 other junior ROTC units, Air Force in particular,
Yeah.
where maybe hair and makeup was not the biggest issue with the unit. At some it was, and so it does matter. Because we're funded by the Air Force, because resources are given by the Air Force dictates that if they're going to be in the uniform, they have to look like they're actually on active duty.
Right.
And so that can be a deal breaker for a lot of these kids. We let them know that up front. They do sign a contract with the parents and the program just to say, look, I am willing, I am going to do what you asked me to do when I'm in the blue uniform. The 4 other days of the week, Dean, they're themselves. They show up in their pajamas, they show up with messy hair, they do all the jewelry and everything else. I have no say in that whatsoever. It's only on that uniform day that we ask them to dress. And the key takeaway here is that we're trying to get them used to seeing what it means to dress professionally.
That's right.
How do you
dress for success?
How are you going to dress for success?
Right.
And look the part when you go and you want to get that job interview, or you
I think that's real important. Dress for success. People don't really understand that, especially at that age, that you have to dress for success.
Right.
And if you don't, you know, you might be the odd one out.
Right.
You know, so
it's teaching them rules. It's teaching them that there is some structure, and that if you want to be on the team, you've got to do your part.
You have to understand, I mean, when you go in the military, it's teamwork. You have to work together. I mean, it's not just one individual. You have to work together as a team. And if you don't, you're going to have problems. And you know that.
You see it.
And so, all right, chain of command. I see that some of them are colonels and some of them are captains, some of them are lieutenants. How does that evolve?
We try to work in that military structure of a chain of command, just to show them an organizational structure.
Right.
We do have a wing commander. We're big enough that we can be considered a wing versus a group versus a squadron.
Well, explain that to people, because I
so
don't know what a wing is.
So the Air Force structure, a wing, it's the largest breakdown of and it's just saying it's the most people that you can have. I believe it's the correct number is 300 or more. You can execute your operations in a wing structure.
Oh, okay.
So under the wing, you would have your groups. Under your groups, you would have your squadrons. Under your squadrons, you have your flights. In groups of 3. And so we operate in a wing structure. So we have 3 groups. We have a support group, a logistics group, and the operations group. And within each one of those, we have senior cadets who have shown us over 2 or 3 years that they have the leadership capabilities, they have the organizational skills, and they have the personality to deal with the pressures of project management and running an organization. And they get, honestly, we call it our unpaid internship. They are doing the work of the junior ROTC unit. The instructors are there to support, to provide resources, to provide guidance, that all they need. They make the plans. They tell us what we're doing. They tell us where they want to go.
Oh, wow.
And we look to see if we can make all of that feasible for them and guide them through that process. And so it's supposed to be a cadet-led program. Lowell High School does it well. We have a great structure, and the kids learn a little bit about themselves and how to work in a professional organization.
I watched or looked online in regards to the program, and I see pictures online, and I think people should look for a Lowell ROTC.
Was it our website? Our
yes,
Google site?
Your website, yeah, the school website.
Cadet designed.
Cadets design. I did see them with medals, and some of them had ribbons on their uniform. I know by being in, I didn't have very many, so I was just wondering, how does that arrive in regards to the ribbons that they wear? It's
a merit program. It's a feel-good thing. The ribbons are there for the cadets alone, and those that enjoy showing what they've done thrive. They like that. They know what they have to work for. They get a goal. They have certain stipulations or parameters that they have to work within in order to gain anything from. The longevity ribbon, where they finish the year, they get the longevity ribbon. It's equivalent to our service ribbon.
Yeah, right.
A good conduct ribbon, a dress and appearance ribbon, all of their activities that they do. whether they're on the drill team, color guard, saber team, Raiders team, J-Lab team. We have so many different teams that they can do, and as long as they compete in those, it's like lettering, basically, in a sport.
The Raiders team, explain that.
Oh, Raiders is new. It's very fun. It's a outdoor kind of team competition aspect of the programs.
Okay.
It's getting a lot of traction in the Air Force, as well as the Marine Corps teams do it very well as well. But these cadets compete from anything from long runs or 3Ks.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry, 5Ks or more in team settings. They do a one-rope bridge, which is kind of a Army Ranger kind of event where they learn how to do mountaineering skills, tie a rope as a team and get 8 people across a ravine, and it's a timed event. And so they do these with other junior ROTC units during the year and compete. In fact, just to help them out, Peabody has a great Raiders team. They actually went to the Nationals down in Georgia, and their girls team placed first nationally.
Wow.
Yeah, and this was their first time down.
It teaches confidence.
So. It takes a lot of confidence, a lot of teamwork in this kind of Raider event. It's a really cool
if
aspect.
you finish that type of event, I mean, there's a lot of confidence that you build up and so forth.
Not only strength training and stamina, but the team aspect and the courage.
Do I get a medal for that, being on the team?
They have a ribbon for it as well.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
if you do well.
I just wanted to know, right? National competition, you mentioned, does Lowell get involved in national competition?
Yep, Lowell we are a drill school. We have been doing drill well for a long time, and we will continue to do that as long as I'm at the helm. I am the program manager for the drill program.
Are you?
And,
boy.
So
I remember marching,
We went to Ohio last year to the Air Force Nationals.
Oh, wow.
Just getting back to it after COVID. We hadn't been since 2019.
And how did you guys do?
The last time they were there, they were ranked first.
Oh, wow.
With both their teams.
Oh, good.
And
they must have felt proud.
When we got back into the fray last year with the new crew after COVID, our girls placed third nationally with their exhibition team.
All right.
The guys need a little bit of work, and so we're looking to head back there and hopefully take first, second, or third nationally amongst only Air Force junior ROTC units. Our goal is to get down to Florida in May to compete against all the other services.
Oh, wow.
On a national level.
But I mean, it opens an eye to the big picture and seeing other things other than Lowell, Mass.
Correct.
You know? Okay. You live in Billerica, I live in Chelmsford. They don't have ROTC. How would we start? I have some time to talk about that. How would they start if they want to start a program?
The school
it doesn't have to be Air Force, right?
No, it doesn't.
It could be Army or Marines. Or,
yeah, every service has their own affiliation with the junior ROTC program. You would just have to contact the headquarters for each of those branches to see what their process is.
Are we talking about headquarters in the Pentagon or?
No, so Air Force Junior ROTC is headquartered in Maxwell Air Force Base in Alabama. That's where our headquarters
I've been there, Montgomery, Alabama.
Yes, sir.
I've been on Maxwell.
Right, so they belong to Air Education and Training Command, so that's why they're headquartered.
The Air University is at Montgomery.
Yes, sir.
That's the second biggest national library after the Library of Congress at Maxwell.
Been there myself. Pretty impressive. Yeah. So at Senior NCO Academy.
So. We'll talk about this afterwards. But let's say in Billerica they want to start ROTC.
Billerica has a ROTC program.
Oh, they do?
In their program.
I didn't even know that.
They have a crosstown agreement with Bedford High School in Bedford, Mass.
Okay.
And so Billerica has chosen to allow that course in their course catalog for credit as an elective for their students. And so anybody that enrolls at Billerica is bused during a certain time of the day to go take their junior ROTC class at Bedford High.
And that's Air Force, I presume.
That is an Air Force program.
We're Hanscom.
Yeah, they're the second oldest, right behind us. They're a couple years younger than us.
So, then Chelmsford does not.
And if they don't, or they want to enter into either a crosstown agreement or decide that they want to have their own junior ROTC department, then they would just visit their website, look at the information for starting a new unit. And I believe it's going to take a visit from headquarters. They'll come and ask some particulars about the size of the school, the resources the schools can provide, how they see the program fitting into their high school environment, and then just making sure that the structure is there. And then they will get put on the wait list. And
the wait list.
There is a wait list.
The wait
so
list.
there are quite a few schools that desire an
Oh,
Air
no
Force
kidding.
JROTC program, and as long as and I believe the last read that I had on it was it's not based on where you came in the queue. It's just a matter of how great. If you're going to support the program, great, and you can show that as a school district, I think you have a good chance of getting one.
So you're talking about if you put your name in, it would be Army, Air Force,
I'm
Marines,
just talking
whatever.
specifically Air Force.
Okay,
Correct.
all right.
The other branches do have their process. I don't know what that is.
I see. Okay,
but
that's
it would be a matter
understandable.
of contacting
All right.
their directorates.
So there's 3 people involved in your junior ROTC that are former military, right?
Correct.
And where do they stand? I mean, so you're retired, so you get a retirement's pay. How is that set up in regards to the structure? Let's say if they want to start something in Chelmsford, how is that set up with
Okay.
Lowell?
So initially, all units are allowed 2 instructors for 100 cadets, and it's mandated our minimum number for viability. In other words, in order to stand up a unit, you need to show that you can have at least 100 cadets enrolled in the program.
Right.
They can be any year group, any mix that they want. They just have to show that in order to support having 2 people on staff.
I see. Okay.
And normally it would start with 1 officer, 1 enlisted.
I see.
And so those instructors would start up the program as long as the unit stays viable or continues to grow. As the program grows past 100, if you get past 150, you're allowed to have another instructor on staff.
I see.
And so you can keep adding instructors for every 50 to 100
Right,
cadets that you have enrolled in the program. At Lowell, we're lucky enough to have 3 instructors right now. We have our newest member is now in his 2nd year. That's retired Chief Master Sergeant Donald Felch. He came from a unit in Maryland near the Baltimore area. Okay. And relocated up here to Massachusetts. And so he's the newest. He is the highest ranking by pay grade, and so he is by default the department head for the junior ROTC program. Right. So he represents us with the administration and any curriculum things that might come up with the administration at the high school.
Who pays you? Do you get paid?
We are paid. Again, we are retirees. We're
Right.
City of Lowell, Lowell Public Schools employees.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we are not employees of the government at all. We are retired members.
Okay,
as
yeah,
you
you're
mentioned.
right, yeah.
So the only affiliation there is that the Air Force is funding the program, so we have to do what they say. We have to maintain our weight standards so we can get in a uniform and still look like we belong.
Yeah, right.
But yes, it is a joint effort on the pay scale but we are city employees basically.
I see. So, okay, we have 2 minutes to go. Anything that you want to add to the program? Anything you want the kids to know if they watch this on YouTube?
Yeah, so for the veterans, if anybody's interested, we are actively recruiting instructors in the program. We have 9 units again in Massachusetts. I believe there's 3 actively looking for an instructor at those locations. I believe it's Quincy is looking for somebody. Taunton is looking for somebody. And there's one other unit.
I'm not going to Quincy. I'm not going to Taunton.
It might be somebody in Worcester. There's 2 units in Worcester with Burncoat and South Community, and perhaps maybe it's both of those that might be looking for an instructor. But take a look at the national website.
What do you want the students?
Students, we're a people program.
Yeah.
We have the military affiliation,
right?
And we have a feeling that our numbers have dipped a little bit just at Lowell, and I've seen numbers at different places.
But COVID's involved,
over.
Right?
We have some COVID, leftover things that are happening with the attrition. But
right.
Honestly, the instructors we've talked, and we think it's coming down more to a patriotism thing than anything else. We're not in a 20-year war anymore like we were in the past, and so. Just it being in our face all the time. Kids, they wanted to be associated with us when we were at war. They wanted to be associated with the military. It was a cool thing. And so now I think that politically, socially has changed for us a little bit, and I think it is driving the numbers maybe to dip just a little bit. We'll stay healthy, we'll stay viable, especially at Lowell, but we're a people program. We want to get